Okay, so now we are in chapter 3.4 and we are adding and subtracting fractions. Fractions with the same denominator are called like fractions, and fractions that have different denominators are called unlike fractions. Following examples, 2 over 5 and 3 over 5 are like fractions because they both have 5 in the denominator. Whereas examples 2 over 5 and 3/4 are unlike fractions because the first denominator is 5 and then the second denominator is 4, and they're not equal. Now when you're adding and subtracting fractions that are alike, you would add the numerators together. So add the top numbers and then keep the bottom number. So add the numerators together and then keep the denominator. You can follow the same steps when subtracting. You would subtract the top numbers and then keep the bottom number. Here's an example. Let's say we had 3 over 5 minus 1 over 5. So 3/5 minus 1/5. We see that the bottom numbers are exactly the same. Therefore, all we got to do is subtract the top numbers. So 3 minus 1 over, keep the bottom number, which is 5. And this becomes 2/5. Let's do some more examples. So it says add and simplify. So 3/8 plus 2/8. We see that the bottom numbers are both 8, so we'll keep the 8. And then we'll add the top numbers together. So 3 plus 2, which is 5/8. So keep the bottom number, add the top numbers. In example B, we're adding 3 fractions. We have 3/8 plus 5/8 plus 4/8. 8 is the denominator, so keep the 8. And then add the top numbers. So 3 plus 5 plus 4, which is going to become 12 over 8. Now remember to always simplify your answer. So 12 and 8, we can divide both by 2. Or actually, let's divide both by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. And then 8 divided by 4 is 2. So this is the fraction 3/2. Now let's subtract and simplify. So we have 8/9 minus 1/9. Again, keep the bottom number, which is 9. And then we're going to do 8 minus 1, which is 7/9. For part B, we have 7/8 minus 5/8. Keep the 8, which is your denominator, and then do 7 minus 5. And it becomes 2/8. Then, of course, simplify your final answer. We can divide 2 and 8 by 2. And we end up with 1/4. Alright, now let's add and subtract using negative numbers, integers. So it says negative 11/8 plus 6/8. Well, remember, when the bottom numbers are exactly the same, keep the bottom number. And then all we're going to do is combine the top numbers. So it says negative 11, take the negative and move it up here with the 11, negative 11 plus 6. Well, remember, when we're adding numbers that have different signs, we subtract and keep the sign of the bigger. So this becomes negative 5 over 8. And then down here we have 3/4 minus 7/4. 4 is the denominator, so let's keep the denominator, so it's 4. And then up top we have 3 minus 7. Now we change the minus sign into an addition sign, and we do the opposite of the second number. So now we have 3 plus negative 7, which is negative 4, over 4, which is just negative 1. Now it says, find the perimeter of the following rectangle. We have a side that is 5/12 and another side which is 7/12. So remember, since it's a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. So this becomes 7/12 and this will be 5/12. And then remember, perimeter means just add up all your sides. So you have 5/12 plus 5/12 plus 7/12 plus 7/12. Now the denominator is going to be 12, so keep the 12, and then add all the top numbers, so 5 plus 5 plus 7 plus 7, which is going to come out to be 24. So now you have 24 over 12, which you can simplify to be 2. So the perimeter is 2 meters. Now we're going to look at how to find the LCM, which is the least common multiple. Sometimes the least common multiple is referred to as the least common denominator, which is the LCD. In step 1, you're going to start by writing the prime factorization for each number. So let's say we had an example to look at. Let's say we're finding the LCM of 12 and 28. So we're trying to find the smallest multiple that 12 and 28 shares. So that's why we get the name least common multiple. So step 1 said write the prime factorization for each number. So we can break 12 down by doing 2 times 3 times 2. So it's really 2 times 2 times 3. And we can break down 28 by doing 2 times 2 times 7. So step 1 is to write the prime factorization for each number. And then step 2 says write the factors from the first number. So it doesn't matter what the factors are, you're going to write them down for step 2. So it's going to be 2 times 2 times 3. And then step 3 says multiply the list in step 2 by any factors in the second number that's not already in the list. This product will be your LCM. So let's look over at the second number. We see a 2. So let's look in our list. Do we already have a 2? Yes, we do. So we're not going to write him down. Then we see another 2. Well, do we have another 2 in the list? We do. Therefore, we're not going to write him down. And then the next number is a 7. We look in the list. We do not have a 7. So we're going to write him down. This becomes your LCM. And we can multiply it out. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 3 is 12. Times 7 is 84. So the LCM is 84. The smallest multiple that 12 and 28 shares is 84. So step 1, begin by writing the prime factorization for each number. Step 2, write the factors from the first number. Step 3, add to this list any factors from the second number that's not already in the list, and this will become your LCM. So here's the example. It says find the least common multiple of 9 and 12. So we're going to start by writing the prime factorization of 9, and it's 3 times 3. And then we're going to do the prime factorization of 12, which is 2 times 2 times 3. So that's step 1. And then in step 2, we're going to write the factors of the first number, which is just 3 times 3. And then we're going to go to the second list, or the second number, and see if there's any factors not already in the list. So 2. We don't have a 2 down here, so we're going to write them. And then we have another 2. We do not have another 2 down here, so we're going to write it. And then we see a 3. We already have a 3, so we're not going to write this. So this is your LCM, and it's 3 times 3, which is 9, times 2, which is 18, times 2, which is 36. So the least common multiple of 9 and 12 is 36. Let's do 72 and 60. So let's break down 72. So it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. So 72 can be broken down into 2 times 36. And then 36 is 2 times 18. And 18 is 2 times 9. And then 9 is 3 times 3. Also, let's break down 60. So that'll be 2 times 30. And then 2 times 15. And then 15 is 3 times 5. So this becomes 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. And we write down the LCM by writing the factors from the first number. So we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. And now we're going to look at the factors in the second number and see if they're already in the list. If they are not, we're going to put them there. So 2 is already there. So we're not going to write him. We have another 2, and we have another 2 in the list, so we're not going to write him. We have a 3, and there's a 3 in the list. And then there's a 5, but there's not a 5 in the list, so we're going to multiply by 5. So now the LCM, or the LCM, will be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. Which is 360. All right, let's find the LCM of 15, 18, and 54. So again, start by listing the prime factorization of each number. Once you have that, now you're going to start your LCM by writing the factors of the first number, which is 3 times 5. And then you're going to look at the second number and see if there's any factors that you need to add to the list. So we see a 2. There's not a 2 down here, so let's put it there. We see a 3. We already have a 3. And then we see another 3, but we do not have another 3 in the list, so let's put it there. Now we move down to the third number. We're going to do the same thing again. We see a 2, but now we have a 2, so we're not going to put him. We see the 3. We have a 3. We have another 3. Well, we have another 3 already in the list, so that's okay. And then there's an extra, another 3. We don't have 3 3s down here, therefore we have to put him. And then we multiply everything together. So 3 times 5 times 2 times 3 times 3. Which is 270. So the LCM is 270. Go in our books to page 218. We're going to start by looking at problem number 55. It says find the LCD of each list of fractions. So they want the least common denominator, which is the least common multiple. Then we have the fractions 2/9 and 6/15. So 2/9 and 6/15. We need to find the LCD, which is the least common denominator. So let's start by writing the denominators down. So we have 9 and 15. Now you can find the prime factorization of each. So 9 is 3 times 3, And 15 is 3 times 5. Remember the LCD, the factors of the first number, so 3 times 3. And then come down to the second number, and any numbers not already in the list, you need to add to the list. So we have 3, but we already have a 3 in the list, so not adding him. And then we see 5. We do not have a 5 in the list, so we put it here. So the LCD is 3 times 3 times 5, which is 45. Okay, let's look at number 58. And it says negative 1 over 15 and 1 over 90. So we got to find the LCD. So first write down the denominators. Which are 15 and 90. And then write down the prime factorization of each. So 15 is 3 times 5. And then 90 is 2 times 45. And 45 is 9 times 5. And 9 is 3 times 3. So 90 is written as 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. Now start by writing your LCD using the factors of the first number, so 3 times 5. And then come down to the second number and add to the list any factors not already there. So we see 2, there isn't a 2 down here, so let's put it there. We have 3, but we already have a 3. We see a second 3, but we do not have a second 3, so let's put it there. And then there's a 5, but we already have the 5. And then multiply it all together, so 3 times 5 times 2 times 3. So 3 times 5 is 15, times 2 is 30, times 3 is 90. Alright, let's look at number 61. And it says negative 7 over 24 and negative 5 over 7. So go ahead and start by writing down the denominators. So they are 24 and 7. Now we need to write the prime factorization of each. So 24 is 2 times 12, which is 2 times 6, and then 6 is 3 times 2. So 24 would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3, and 7 is just 1 times 7. So then the LCD would be the factors of the first number times the factors of the second number that's not already here. Well, that's just 1. We don't have to consider him. 7 is not already in the list, so we put it in the list. And the LCD is going to be 2 to the third power times 3 times 7. Well, 2 to the third, that's 8. 8 times 7 is 56, times 3 is 168. Okay, so this will conclude our video for 3.4. Please email me if you have any questions.